the clap. Fête Foreign goes back to the early 1980s. In the 70s, at the Paris Opera, I worked a lot with contemporary dance, and that period was over in 1980, and I was thinking about all these different experiences of stage work, musicians playing on stage. And I started thinking about a way to do that which deals with the problem that we all speak a different language. How can we speak together? And the ideal way to do that is through improvisation. And so I started having visions of what this piece could be like. And it was with everybody being himself, but being himself in his own costume. So I started as a young man to try and organize a production in Paris with that, but I was much too naive and inexperienced and without the right connections to get very far, so it never happened. But I had written a lot at the time about this idea for a show, and the idea never left my head. And it came up again later in the end of the 80s, and then in the 90s, through workshops that I had given for dancers and musicians together, the subject of improvisation. And it was quite successful. And I liked it a lot. The participants liked it a lot. And it started some little things going in Brussels and in Berlin, where the groups carried on after this work that we did together without me. And then something like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, Lelo Colombo asked me, he said, make us a proposition over 2 years that will last 2 years, a proposition for 2 years of work. So I said, aha, because I had been to Lecco quite a few times to give workshop about improvising, and so there was people who knew my work and how I go about this improvising stuff. And so I said, okay, it's a good time for Fête Foreign. And so I made the proposition to them. The first year, only training and improvisation. And the second year, to make your individual personaggio and to develop a linguaggio musicale corrispondente a questo personaggio. So we worked on that for 1 year. And during that year, the Ivan Illich School in Bologna, mainly through Salvatore Panu, said, oh, this is good, we would like to do it too. So then it was 2 groups of people, here in Lecco and in Bologna. So we did the work. I went to one city, then I went to the other, teaching my way of improvising, organizing people, and then in the second year, working on these individuals, and that the individual has his own language. And how can we meet together when we speak different languages? So I think the first actual concert that we did was 3, maybe now it was 4 years ago. Time goes by so quickly. At the Angelica Festival in Bologna. And since then, we've had quite a few times to play it, and I think that it's really interesting that the group, the hardcore of the group, which goes back now 25 years, when they first came to take a workshop with me 25 years ago, want to document the process. It's quite simple, actually. It's you say tomato and I say tomato. You say potato and I say potato. Let the good times roll.